The captain jabbed a finger toward her rifle. "You're holding it wrong." 12 years, 39 confirmed kills, and still, someone thought she needed a lesson. Staff Sergeant Lena Moran didn't bother answering. She'd learned long ago that silence was faster than argument. Around her, the midday heat at FOB Ironwood shimmered like liquid glass, diesel fumes, sand, and ego rolling together in one choking haze. Captain Aaron Mitchell, the new West Point officer, stood there with the easy confidence of a man who'd never been shot at. "College rifle team," he said, flashing a grin. "I can show you a few tricks." Lena closed her data book slowly, hiding the page with the neat column of confirmed kills. 39. All clean. All verified by men who weren't here anymore. "Appreciate that, sir," she said quietly. Mitchell smiled, pleased with himself, and walked away, leaving her in the kind of silence that pressed on the chest like body armor. She'd learned to shoot before she could drive. Wyoming plains, wind biting her face. Her grandfather's old Remington 700 balanced on a fence post. Earl Moran, veteran of a war the world barely remembered, had taught her patience, discipline, and the only rule that ever mattered. Shooting isn't about being fast. It's about being right. When he died, he left her his M1 Garand, a wristwatch that never worked, and a slip of paper with a number scrawled in pencil. 12. His confirmed kills. She'd carried that paper through every deployment, every night she couldn't sleep, every time someone decided she didn't look like a sniper. Now, at Ironwood, the rumor spread like wildfire. The new captain's teaching the girl sniper how to shoot. Mission briefings came and went without her name. Men with louder mouths and smaller kill counts got the calls. Lena stayed quiet. Silence was her camouflage. That night, under the dull hum of generators, she unfolded the paper again, tracing the faded number with her thumb. 12. She didn't need anyone to tell her worth. But the wind whispered anyway. They'll see soon enough. Wherever you're watching from, drop a comment below. Tell me your city, your base, or your corner of the world. And if stories like this one hit home for you, tap subscribe. It keeps this mission going. One story, one soldier at a time. Before Ironwood, there was Zaman Province, a place so wide and dry it swallowed sound. Lena had arrived there with a ranger platoon and a spotter named Sergeant Mateo Cruz, a man who could read wind the way others read faces. Together, they worked like a machine, built for distance. Cruz called the wind, Lena broke the shot, and somewhere out there, the world changed by a heartbeat. In 6 months, she logged 19 confirmed kills, all clean, all verified through after-action reports and drone footage. Cruz had written a commendation packet so strong it should have been automatic. But the file came back stamped insufficient corroboration. No reason, no credit, just silence. She didn't argue. She never did. Cruz transferred out. Her record went quiet. By the time she reached FOB Ironwood, the Army had decided her talent was supporting. It meant she took photos, filled data sheets, and trained others to shoot straight. Men who'd never seen the flash of a muzzle through thermal at 1-200 yards. The new unit didn't know her, didn't ask. And after a while, she stopped volunteering answers. Captain Aaron Mitchell filled the silence with confidence. He led loud, briefed longer than he listened, and smiled for the drone cameras. When Lena entered a room, conversations softened. The same faces that once asked her for ballistic tables now asked if she'd fetch coffee for the range team. She didn't break. She just folded inward, the way her grandfather's paper folded, edges worn, truth hidden. One night, the wind at Ironwood picked up, and she sat outside her tent, tracing the number 12 again. She thought about Cruz, about the look in his eyes after their last shot together. Steady, trusting, proud. "One of these days," he'd told her, "they'll stop seeing your size and start seeing your scope." Maybe he'd been wrong. Maybe he hadn't. Inside the operations tent, names were being shuffled for the next precision assignment, an interagency request tagged urgent. Every sniper wanted it. Every officer had an opinion. And somewhere in that mess of paperwork, a single note slipped across the desk of a weary ops officer. "Send your best. No politics. No preferences. Just your best." He looked at the list of names. Then he looked at hers. And the silence around Staff Sergeant Lena Moran was about to end. The file hit the desk with a snap. On the cover, Moran, L.A., and in the margin, a handwritten note. "Check her numbers." The operations officer paused, scanning the data. 39 confirmed kills, expert qualifications across every range, scores higher than anyone in theater. The silence in the tent thickened as he exhaled, low and disbelieving. "Jesus," he muttered. "Why is she benched?" 2 days later, Commander Elias Ford, head of Task Unit Trident, arrived from Outpost Meridian. The Navy SEALs had requested a precision shooter for a high-value interdiction. The order was simple but absolute. Send your best. When Ford read Lena's file, he didn't just see numbers. He saw consistency. No missed shots, no showboating, no complaints. The kind of quiet excellence that rarely survived military politics. He asked to meet her personally. Lena stood at parade rest when Ford entered. He was older, lean, silver hair at his temples, eyes that didn't waste motion. He studied her like a target through glass. "Staff Sergeant Moran," he said. 39 confirmed. Is that number accurate?" "Yes, sir." Personal log, AAR corroboration, and witness. Statements. "All 3, sir." Ford's jaw flexed once. "Good. Pack your kit. You're coming north." Within hours, she was back in motion, rotor wash hammering the air as an MH-60R Seahawk lifted off the pad, slicing through the pale morning sky. The SEALs in the cabin watched her in silence, curious, skeptical. She checked her rifle case, the worn Barrett M107A1 resting inside, its barrel catching the dim red light. At Outpost Meridian, Ford briefed the team. "Target, Hamid Rahal, a financier moving weapons and money for insurgent networks across Moran Province. Location, an isolated compound cut into the side of a valley. Distance, 1,900 meters. Time window, 1 hour before sunset. Most of the team stayed quiet. One officer finally spoke. "She's Army, sir." Ford didn't look up. "She's the best shot in the theater, that's all that matters." Lena leaned over the map, her gloved finger tracing elevation lines, wind corridors, and angles. She asked about drone coverage, thermal shifts, mirage patterns. Ford answered every question without hesitation. By the time the briefing ended, no one doubted her anymore. Outside, the sky was bleeding into orange. Lena adjusted her sling, checked her watch, her grandfather's old one, still dead but always with her. Tomorrow, before the sun rose, she'd be on that ridge. And when the wind finally settled, someone important was going to fall. The first shot of the day wasn't fired. It was breathed. Cold air in, control out. That's how every kill began. Before dawn, the MH-60R Seahawk dropped them a mile south of the objective. No lights, no sound but rotor wash fading into the dark. Lena Ash Moran, Commander Elias Ford, and a 3-man SEAL element climbed the ridge in silence. The ground was rock and dust, shifting under their boots. Every step felt like a test of patience. By 0540, they reached the overwatch point. The valley below looked empty, just a cluster of mud brick buildings and a dirt road cutting through the dust. But Lena knew better. Inside one of those walls was Hamid Rahal, the man who moved money and weapons for half the insurgent network in Moran Province. She unfolded the bipod on her Barrett M107A1, locked into position, and began reading the world. Rowan Wren Low, her spotter, ranged the target compound. 1890 meters, he said quietly. Copy, Lena replied. They built the shot like an equation: temperature, pressure, humidity, elevation angle, wind. The Kestrel 5700 flickered numbers in the faint morning light. Wren whispered corrections, watching the mirage shift like heat ghosts. Then the radio cracked. Target is mobile. Rahal's outside, moving to vehicle. Lena's heartbeat slowed, not quickened. She inhaled, exhaled, and let the world shrink down to a single tan figure crossing a courtyard. 3 left, Wren said. Hold. She did. The trigger broke clean. The recoil hit, her shoulder like a slow punch, and 3 long seconds later, the round found him. Through the scope, she saw Rahal drop. No flinch, no stagger, just gone. Target down, confirmed. The compound erupted. Men ran, shouting in panic, but Rahal didn't move. Ford lowered his binoculars, eyes steady on Lena. That, he said quietly, was perfect. She cleared the rifle, eyes still on the scope. Thank you, sir. Ford crouched beside her, voice low. Remind me, why were you sitting on a bench for 2 weeks? Lena glanced at him, calm as the valley below. Because people see what they expect to see, sir. Ford smirked, standing. Not anymore. Tomorrow, everyone at Ironwood would know her name, but not all of them would like it. The debrief room at FOB Ironwood was too quiet. Maps lined the walls, and every man inside knew exactly what had happened, but no one wanted to say it out loud. Commander Elias Ford walked in, set a folder on the table, and looked straight at Captain Aaron Mitchell. Before we start, Ford said, let's get something clear. He opened the folder. Lena's file, thick with after-action reports, ISR stills, and signed witness statements. She's got 45 confirmed kills, he continued. All verified, all clean. He turned a page, paused. You offered to teach her to shoot, Captain? Mitchell's jaw tightened. Sir, Ford cut him off. Next time you want to teach someone, make sure you know more than they do. No one moved. The truth hung in the air, heavy and final. Lena stood at the edge of the room, hands behind her back, unreadable. Ford closed the folder and slid it toward her. The commendation packet's been sent, he said. Bronze star with Valor device. It's earned. Outside, the wind rolled across the desert, carrying with it the distant hum of generators and the soft clatter of loose gravel. Lena stepped out into the light, the same dull gold she'd seen 100 times before. In her pocket, she still carried that small folded paper. Her grandfather's handwriting, the number 12 faded to a ghost. She unfolded it one last time, then smiled. Not because she needed the reminder, but because she finally understood it. Her grandfather had once told her, "The best shooters aren't the loudest. They're the ones who never stop aiming for what's right." Lena slipped the paper back into her pocket, straightened her uniform, and walked toward the firing range as the sun broke over Ironwood. Because in the end, it was never about the number. It was about being seen, without ever needing to shout.